The severe thunderstorm that blew through Bemidji on June 21st impacted so many in the area. Homes were damaged, trees uprooted, lives altered forever. Patients at Sanford Bemidji Medical Center also had to deal with power outages and stifling heat and humidity. People all across the region stepped up to help their neighbors after the storm, and Sanford employees were no different. That includes 2 unsung heroes who went above and beyond to get patients the care they needed in a slightly less traditional fashion. Cole Schwerin and his family took shelter from the storm's 120-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the basement of their home around 12:30 a.m.
It hits, and we hear the wind, and we hear, I think, hail, and we hear a couple thuds and tree branches.
The next morning, he couldn't believe the damage.
I'd say 40 to 50 trees probably, out of maybe 60 in the yard. Man, we lost some big ones. And it missed the house by about 2 feet, which is insane.
Schwerin is a helicopter pilot for Sanford AirMed, and initially he didn't think he'd be able to make it to work.
I'm walking around just baffled, taking pictures and videos, and I realized we can't get out of our driveway.
With streets blocked by fallen trees all across the city, Schwerin knew people would need to be airlifted out of town. Even though he couldn't drive to work, he walked down the street in search of an open field, which would be a perfect helicopter landing area.
But I've never been picked up to go to work, and so I was super excited. The crew was just giving me a lot of crap, you know? And they're like, oh, Cole took an Uber into work today, you know, the most expensive Uber.
Jokes aside, Schwerin's presence was important. His fellow pilots needed their mandatory rest time, so Schwerin was the only available pilot for part of the day. He would make 3 trips transporting patients from Bemidji to Fargo that day, and many more the rest of the week.
It was like that for about 3 days straight.
Yeah.
And like 24 hours a day. It was nonstop.
Luckily, by the end of his first shift, neighbors had helped clear his driveway, and his wife could pick him up from work in a car. At the hospital, power outages and lack of air conditioning made for a hot, humid night, not just for patients, but for all of the medical equipment as well. Faith Johnshoy is the sterile processing manager at Sanford Bemidji Medical Center. As the storm blew through, her night was just getting started.
We knew that there was going to be a storm. We didn't know how bad it was going to be. So from midnight to about 4 o'clock in the morning, I was on the phone with staff, contacting them, trying to navigate.
Portions of the hospital roof were damaged, and water blew in through some side doors. The hospital was running on a backup generator. The heat and humidity made every instrument unsterile.
If there's any water that gets on a tray or peel pack, we do have to re-sterilize it. If the humidity is above 60%, we have to re-sterilize all the instruments after 8 hours.
Power outages meant sterilization machines were down as well.
We had to divert all patients because we could not sterilely operate on anyone. It was, if there was a true emergent life or death threatening, then we would proceed, but we did not do anything further than that.
The morning of June 22nd, more than 24 hours after the storm hit, the humidity came down and the sterilization machines were back up and running. The 3 machines ran constantly, with staff rotating in 24 hours a day. It took until June 27th for every piece of equipment to be completed.
For a 2-week pay period, our staff will assemble about 4,000 to 5,000 items. At the end of that pay period, we were well over 12,000.
It was a heavy lift, but one that was needed in a critical time.
I cannot say how proud I am of my team because I honestly did not think that it would go as smooth as it did, and they really did put their hearts into it and try to do the best that they could so that we could see our patients.
Nurses and doctors are often the faces of a hospital, but there are so many people taking care of patients behind the scenes. Never was that more apparent than that fateful week in June. Cole Schwerin, Faith Johnshoy, and countless others all pitched in to help their patients and their neighbors weather the storm. In Bemidji, Jason Anschutz, Sanford Health News.